Hello everybody. Despite timely wall ablation, nearly 60% of the cases of posterior thal wall progress to detrusor decompensation by puberty. Almost the same percentage of patients slip into the chronic kidney disease. And this is also not clear which sets in first, chronic kidney disease or the bladder decompensation. We suggest a possibility of subclinical covert detrusor contractility disorder in cases who progress to chronic kidney disease early. For this, a parameter which can provide an objective assessment of underlying detrusor contractility disorder is required. This is how the bladder contractility or BCI is calculated. This is the product of voiding pressure and maximum flow plus 5 times maximum flow. On the basis of BCI values, bladder contractility is divided into 3 categories. Primary endpoint of the study was a fall in eGFR that is less than 45 ml per minute, that is CKD stage 3B or more in KDIGO classification. And the secondary aim was the impact of demographical variables and baseline characteristics on disease progression. The study included 270 patients of posterior urethral valve who were followed after valve ablation with urodynamics, first at 6 months, then annually. Minimum follow-up was that of 5 years, and the patients were divided into 2 study groups. Group 1 included the patients who progressed to CKD 3B, that is eGFR less than 45 ml per minute, and group 2 who maintained eGFR above 45 ml per minute. These are the characteristics of patients in 2 groups. The mean serum creatinine level little higher as compared to the group 2. Similarly, group 1 had more requirement of medications and interventions. These are some of the factors already known to be associated with progression of disease to chronic kidney disease. While comparing the 5 designated urodynamic parameters, bladder contractility index and the end filling pressure were the statistical significant parameters in the 2 study groups. But more interestingly, the main highlights of the study is the bladder contractility index. Besides the 2 commonly known parameters, that is end filling pressure and the compliance, which turned out to be statistically significant, they are correlating with the progression to chronic kidney disease. Further, the ROC cutoff levels for bladder contractility and end filling pressure were developed to find out the best possible specificity and sensitivity. We could find a fairly good specificity and sensitivity at a cutoff of 65. Hence, based on these observations, patients were divided into tertiles according to bladder contractility values, that is less than 65, 65 to 130 and greater than 130, and similarly end filling values, that is less than 10, 11 to 15 and greater than 15, and renal survival curves were constructed for each tertile group. Cumulative renal survival group was significantly different among the 3 tertile groups of bladder contractility index and end filling pressure, and this was best in greater than 130 and worst less than 65. So friends, based on these observations, I summarize that bladder contractility index can serve as an early and reliable predictor for the development of CKD stage 3B or more. A timely evaluation of bladder dynamics and treatment of underlying disorder may delay the development of CKD. And with this, I thank you all